Hello everyone, Sunly here and welcome back to another Bedrock Edition tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to build a new and improved updated raid farm for the 1.16 Nether update and beyond. Raid farms, as you should know, are completely overpowered and an insane farm to have in your world. This farm produces up to 1500 emeralds per hour and gives you all the experience equivalent of a double spawner. Also, this farm uses looting 3 and is fully AFK, so you can stand at this thing for as long as you like. Raid farms give you up to 16 different types of items, including tons and tons of emeralds, any kind of enchantment book, including mending, and also tons of iron gear and other enchanted items. Overall, raid farms are utterly insane, and if you don't have one of these in your worlds, you are definitely missing out, and you should build one immediately. So in front of us here, you can see the entirety of the raid farm from below. It might look like this thing is really big and kind of menacing. However, I assure you, this is a very simple farm and anyone can build this in their Minecraft worlds. In front of you here, you can see the storage, and from about 1 hour of using the farm, you'll get around 7.5 double chests of items. As you can see, it is quite the mix of items because I've installed 0 storage system and sorting system, but as you can see, you can get all kinds of different enchantment books, including things like treasure enchantments such as a Frostwalker and even some mending books as well. Keep in mind, you also get a ton of enchanted iron gear. You can throw that in a grindstone, unenchant it for additional experience, and then smelt that down in a furnace for iron nuggets. So this is basically kind of an inefficient iron farm. Also, of course, you get tons and tons of totems of undying, which is kind of the best drop from this entire farm. So how exactly do you get so many drops from raid farm? Well, basically we're farming 5 different types of mobs. We have the pillagers and all of their different drops. We have the vindicators and their 3 drops, evokers with their 2 drops, witches with 7 different drops, and then of course ravengers with the completely useless and utterly pointless saddles. So the reason why I'm releasing a new tutorial for this raid farm for the 1.16 update is due to the changes to spawning and despawning in Bedrock Edition. We now have new spawning and despawning distances, and previously this entire upper part of the farm was 54 blocks above the spawn spot inside of your outpost. With the new despawning changes, we need to lower the upper part of the farm to about 34 blocks above the spawn spot. That means that you need to completely rebuild everything and lower it to about 20 blocks. Since I already had about 3 tutorials stitched together over time to build this particular design, since they kept breaking things, it is time to fully redo the entire tutorial and make one full video. So basically ignore all previous raid farm videos on the channel and just follow this one. So this is the video for you. If there's any updates to this farm ever, you can find them in the pinned comment and in the description down below. So this raid farm right here is a very simple, basic, and cheap raid farm. It doesn't use any bugs, exploits, or glitches, and it's pretty much guaranteed to always at least somewhat functionally work in future updates. Not to mention, I will keep this farm updated for all future updates, so no matter what breaks in the future, you can count on me to update it eventually. There are other different types of raid farms in Bedrock Edition, but a lot of those use bugs, and those pretty much break like every other update, and honestly, you probably don't want to rebuild those kinds of farms. Now that being said, I will be releasing a quad stacked raid farm here soon, so that is basically 4 villages to have 4 different raids going at one time inside of one farm for quadruple the rates. It's honestly insane, although it does pretty much rely on a bug, so build that at your own risk. The farm that I'm showing you how to build in today's video is a very low risk farm. It's just gonna work for you. It's gonna work great, and you'll enjoy it a ton because it gives you so much good loot. So real quick, we can demonstrate how to use this raid farm. Once you've completed it, it's very easy to use. You'll want to go down to the outpost and go to the lower trident killer, which is this one right here. Simply flick the lever and that will turn on the trident killer, and that's going to kill any pillagers and pillager captains that spawn from the outpost, which will give you bad omen. As you can see from the banners, you get a lot of pillager captains. Now you need to go up the scaffolding to the top part of the farm, and then once you get up here, you should get Bad Omen pretty shortly, within about a minute. The new 1.16 despawning mechanics actually helps you get Bad Omen quicker, as there won't be as many mobs in your world taking up the mob cap. So basically, once you get Bad Omen, simply turn on the Trident Killer, and that's going to kill all of the raiders that spawn up there and fall into your kill chamber, which will be all of them. The AFK spot is right here. You want to AFK against this corner, that way you get all of the experience. Hold yourself a looting 3 sword, plug your ears because it's very loud, and then that's all there is to it. As you can see, the pillagers are in there getting killed by the Trident Killer. You get all their drops, which gets delivered to the bottom of the farm where your storage system is, and then you can stand here and get all of the experience. You can basically stand here forever. Phantoms will never spawn because you have solid blocks above your head, and it's really that simple. So before we get started, there's going to be a materials list for this build in the description of the video. If you want to know all the materials that you need to build this, check the description, and also there's going to be a world download down there as well for your convenience, for your testing purposes as well. So the first thing that we need to do is find an outpost in our Minecraft world. So we need to basically find the spawn spot. Now, all structures in Minecraft that spawn mobs only really have one spot that they spawn them in, so that's what we're going to try and find. Now, the pillager outpost can have multiple spawn spots, so keep that in mind. If you're finding pillagers spawning in a bunch of different places, that means that you have multiple spawn spots, and that's actually a really good thing. That means you're going to get more Bad Omen for even more raids, increasing your rates. So most likely your spawn spot is going to be up here on the top of the floor. However, it might also be around the base of the outpost, so just keep your mind open. What you need to do is basically just place a bunch of glass panes going all the way across this upper area, and what this is going to do is it's going to lock the pillagers in place after they have spawned. So the pillagers can actually like fit in between these glass panes, and that's going to show us exactly where they're spawning. So we're going to go ahead and put glass panes all the way across this entire room right here, and you can put glass panes really anywhere you like to try and find all these spawn spots. Once you have a sufficient amount of glass panes in place, we're going to go ahead and back away about 30 or so blocks, and we should hopefully see some pillagers spawn. As you can see, we got a captain immediately, and they actually spawned right in between these 4 glass panes. Now what you need to do is grab yourself a locator map, or otherwise find out which direction is north. So that direction right there is north, and we know that this over here is going to be the northwest. So the mobs actually spawn on the northwest block, meaning that this block right here is the actual spawn spot, because the pillager is to the northwest of it, standing on the corner right in between these 4 glass panes. If there's other pillagers spawning elsewhere, you'll need to find all the other spawn spots as well. So once you have found the spawn spot, you can literally tear down the entire outpost or burn it down or do whatever you want to it. The actual structure does not matter at all, and you can do whatever you want to it. And the only thing that matters is the literal spawn spot where the pillagers spawn, so keep that in mind if you feel like it. So of course, we are still facing north, and this over here is west, and we're going to go ahead and mine out these 4 blocks to the west of that spawn spot. This is where all the pillagers are going to fall down into our kill chamber. We're going to build a trident killer right here on this 2x2 area, and in order to do that, we're going to have to remove this bit of the floor and install a chest and a hopper on top of that. This is technically optional, but this is going to collect all the arrows and the banners from your pillagers. So we need to go ahead and fill in the floor of our trident killer right there, and then we're going to go ahead and place in 3 solid blocks, get in 3 pieces of rail, remove those 2, put some solid blocks there, hopper minecart, break that corner rail, and then simply push that into that block. The hopper minecart should now be in there and collecting all of the different items. Now that item collection is in place for the lower trident killer, we need to install 4 pistons and actually build up the trident killer itself. So basically, we're going to be pushing the trident around in a circle, which is the best way to build a trident killer currently. We need to fill in these blocks right here, and then put a dropper in each corner of this build. Make a observer face each one of these droppers, and that's going to send a redstone signal all the way around this farm right here, and then simply fill in these solid blocks above each of the pistons like so. Make sure to throw in 1 trident just right there in the middle, put that block back, and then we're just going to put a ring of blocks all the way around the top of this thing. So the on and off switch for this little trident killer is going to go basically anywhere, either on that dropper, that block, or that dropper. And then once you flick it, that's going to send a pulse around. And when you unflick it, that's going to activate the trident killer. And you basically want to do that same little process for all of these spawn spots that you have. So if you have 2 spawn spots up here, simply build a trident killer at both of them. Again, the outpost doesn't matter, so you can destroy this thing and make it as ugly as you like. And real quick note about spawn spots is that they're actually spawn columns. So they go all the way up within the bounding box of the structure. So for example, if you have 2 different spawn spots on different heights and you want to raise them up to the same level, all you need to do is simply put some more blocks on top of the lower one, and that should allow the pillagers to spawn on the highest available block as long as it's within the bounding box of the pillager outpost. So getting all of your spawn spots on the same level should be very easy. All you need to do is build them up. So now we're going to ensure that any pillagers that spawn immediately fall into our trident killer. So all you need to do is go ahead and remove these 4 glass panes right here. We're going to build up a wall on these sides out of glass, just like so. Build up some blocks right there, there, and there. We're going to put some blocks in these corners just to make sure that the pillagers don't escape either. And now all you need to do is place a block right there. And now you need to cover everything in leaves. So cover the entire floor in leaves. Put leaves above all of these glass blocks as well. And put leaves on top of the entire roof of the pillager outpost. There's only 2 things that are safe from raids spawning on them: scaffolding and leaves. Anything that we build in this tutorial out of scaffolding or leaves, you also have to build out of scaffolding or leaves. These are the 2 savior blocks because raids do not spawn on them. Raids can spawn on literally everything else, so trust me when I say you gotta use scaffolding and leaves. Also, as a side note, you should probably put some torches in here. That way you don't have any spiders or creepers or anything spawning in there, which could potentially mess up the farm. And now we need to start installing our scaffolding pillar going up the middle of the build. I started the scaffolding pillar right in the middle of the outpost, right on top of the roof. As you can see, that's lined up right in the center of the roof. So we're going to have 2 platforms. The bottom one is going to be the minimum distance that you have to be from your spawn spots in order for pillagers to spawn. And then the top platform is where you're actually going to AFK at the farm. So the bottom platform is going to be 24 blocks above your spawn spot. So for example, if we go right here, you can see that we're at Y84 and our lower platform is at Y108. That is 24 blocks. So the secondary platform, your actual AFK platform, that is going to be 34 blocks above where the bottom of your trident killer is. That's going to ensure that none of the mobs inside of your trident killer actually despawn. So as you can see, this is the bottom level. We're at Y level 80, meaning that we're going to go all the way up to Y118 for our actual AFK platform. This is the main distance change that needs to happen due to 1.16. So this right here is the scaffolding platform that is 34 blocks above the very bottom of your trident killer. This doesn't really need to be lined up with the outpost or anything. However, I would suggest that the very center pillar of your scaffolding be right above your central spawn spot, wherever that may be. We really got to work around the despawning and spawning spheres. So the first thing that we're going to do is face north. That is north right there. And then we're going to have ourselves a 4x4 platform of solid blocks with 3 hoppers in the corner like so, and this orientation. And that is going to be facing into a dropper. That dropper is facing into a sideways stair, and it has a piece of redstone dust on top of it. So the first thing that we're going to do is build up ourselves the trident killer. So put a 2x2 of leaves in the center, and then completely surround that with solid blocks on all sides. 3 pieces of rail in this corner. Remove those 2 and replace them with solid blocks. Put a hopper minecart on top of that rail right there, remove the rail, and then simply nudge that thing through the corner, and that should sit perfectly fine right there on top of that hopper inside of that leaf. And now what we need to do is we need to place in the pistons. So 1 piston right there, 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 and then there. Fill in these solid blocks going all the way around it in these locations. And then right here, we're going to have a piece of glass so that we can see into the trident killer. And on this side, we're actually going to have an observer that is facing upwards right here, simply to power that dropper. And now we're going to go ahead and put some droppers in the corners. You want a dropper in that one, and that one. and then a repeater facing that direction on one tick. So now we need an observer facing that repeater, observer facing that dropper, and facing that dropper. Finally, go ahead and put some solid blocks above each of your pistons, and your trident killer is now done. And now we need to completely bulk up this kill chamber because of the ravagers. The ravagers like to really clip through blocks and escape, and that is one of the main reasons why we're using droppers in this build. So basically, go ahead and surround this entire thing with an extra layer of blocks going around all of these edges like so, and then build that up to this height, and basically just spam fill the blocks in. You can't place too many blocks because they're all needed to suffocate these mobs. Mobs are very glitchy in Bedrock Edition, so we really need to fill all of that in, and this needs to go 3 blocks above this piece of glass. So that is 1, 2, and then 3, and then we're just going to fill in all of this as well. Great, so all of that is filled in, and now we need to fill in 1 on the front as well. So go ahead and put 1 piece of glass there, another solid block there, and then just fill in all of these blocks in these locations, all the way across there, those final 3, and then right there is where your on and off switch for the trident killer will be. Now go ahead and place 2 solid blocks right here with 4 leaves across the top like so, and then we're going to go ahead and put a line of leaves going all the way around the outside edge of this like so, and then we're going to fill in 4 leaves in these locations right here too. Grab yourself some boats and place 2 boats on this layer, and then 2 boats on this layer right here, and that'll catch any vexes that the evokers might summon. So this area right here is actually going to be the drop chute, and that's going to go 11 blocks upwards. So we're going to have solid blocks in all of these locations going all the way up by 11 blocks. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then right here is 11. And now we're going to go ahead and expand our spawn platform by 6 blocks in every direction out of solid blocks. So as you can see, this is 1 block right here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. And then this side is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go ahead and connect up these corners and then fill in all of the solid blocks in between. And of course you want to do that on all 4 sides. And there we go, our square is now filled in. And now you want to go ahead and place 2 blocks of leaves going all the way around the edge. So this would be 1 layer of leaves. We'll go ahead and wrap this all the way around. And then once you've done that, you need another layer of leaves wrapping all the way around that one as well. And now we need to knock out the corners of this platform. So on all 4 corners of the solid block platform, you want to remove these 3 blocks and then these 3 blocks right here and simply fill those in with leaves. Once you've knocked out all 4 of those corners, we need to build up a solid block wall going all the way around this build, and that should be 4 blocks tall going all the way around. So now the walls are in place, and a couple additional things you want to do is put a layer of leaves on top of your wall and then put 1 leaf in each corner of the build as well. So now there's a couple additional things that you can do. For instance, we need a 2x2 of leaves right above our drop chute, and this needs to be basically 4 blocks off the ground, as you can see right here. And this is actually going to prevent lightning from striking down into your kill chamber and killing you while you're AFK. Which, yes, does actually happen. You'll want to go ahead and put some string on the sides of this leaves so that they don't catch on fire from the lightning, of course. And then you'll also want to do that for all of the other leaves around the edges. So string on the sides, string on the top, of course, and then string on the outside edges. That way they don't catch on fire from lightning. If you're in a snowy biome, you'll also want to have string on top of all of these leaves, simply so that snow layers do not build up and then allow raids to spawn on top of these snow blocks. So basically, no matter what, just go ahead and put some string on top of here. Before we put in the water, we're going to put in 4 buttons right here at the top of the drop chute, just so that the mobs can actually fall in there a little bit easier. Mobs see buttons as full blocks, so they kind of want to stand on it. And now we're going to go ahead and place water sources in all the corners on top of all of these leaves, just like so. And then we're going to flood in all the areas in between these. So skip a block next to each corner and then fill in a water source on every single one of those. And that should flood to the center perfectly without actually going down into the kill chamber. If it goes into the kill chamber, you have done something incorrectly. Now, if you're building this in a snowy biome, you might notice that your water is freezing. You can place down some torches temporarily to prevent the ice from forming and also to melt any ice that might already exist. But ultimately, if you're in a snowy biome, you'll want to waterlog all of your water sources with a sign. So simply place a sign inside of each water source and that will prevent them from freezing, and then you no longer need any of your temporary light sources. And now you need to create a village at the top of the farm. This is actually a very easy thing to do. You need to place down a couple of solid blocks and a bed on top of those solid blocks. Make sure there is a 3-block gap right here. That way your villager doesn't suffocate in the ceiling for stupid reasons and bugs. We're going to go ahead and completely surround this entire thing in a ton of leaves. Make sure to leave these 2 blocks air. That way the villager doesn't like pop up into the ceiling for stupid reasons and bugs. We're going to go ahead and surround the rest of this in leaves as well. And now we need to get a villager up here. How you get the villager is up to you. You can use minecarts and rails and nether portals and bubble columns, boats and leads, whatever you do, you just need to get a villager up here and make sure that it sleeps in the bed. Fill in those 2 leaves, remove any extra blocks, and you should be good to go. As soon as your villager links to the bed and sleeps in it, that is going to create a village, and if you have a bad omen, that is going to start a raid. And now for the finishing touches on the farm. All you need to do is remove these 2 pieces of glass and throw a trident in there, replace the 2 pieces of glass, and then you can simply turn on the trident killer, and as you can see, that trident's going to get pushed around, and the farm is now functional. We also need to go ahead and set up the storage system, so we need to completely surround this entire thing right here in leaves. That way no raids ever have a chance of spawning. Put some more leaves right there, and then we're going to surround this stair and a couple of leaves going downwards just to kind of center all of our items and make sure they don't fly off to the sides. Now, the input hopper to your storage system needs to be directly downwards from right here. So if we go down, you can see that we just need to mine downwards, and bam, that is the input hopper to your storage system. Your storage system should be down here on the ground or even below ground, just far away from the places that raiders can spawn, because raids can spawn in hoppers. So storage is completely up to you. I always leave that stuff up to you guys because it is really subjective and everyone likes to do their storage differently. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about today's raid farm, then please do let me know down in the comment section. I'm always trying to help you guys out as best as I possibly can. If you did enjoy today's video, then of course make sure to leave a like as it helps out the video and the channel a ton. And of course, if you know anyone that needs a raid farm or a new working version, then consider sharing this with them. More people using raid farms is always a good thing because these things are amazing. Also, if you want to see more tutorials and videos like this on the channel in the future, then of course make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of those, and potentially turn on notifications. That way you're guaranteed to see it. Otherwise, I'll see you all down in the comment section and in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And then there was silence.